Right, we're in Liverpool at the Crazy House. I'm talking to Danny Vaughn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here again.
So it's an acoustic show tonight. What can we expect?
Well, it's a little, kind of one-man solo thing. I don't do it too often, but what I did this time was put the word out online and said to everybody that was coming to the shows that they could all have a vote for what they'd like to hear, sort of without getting crazy. Said everybody pick 2 songs, otherwise you just get, the list. So I just tallied it all up, and the ones that were most voted for are mostly the ones I'm going to do. There's a few I'm throwing in for my own pleasure.
Yeah.
But
any covers and stuff like that?
No, not tonight.
Right.
This is it's a funny thing. You suddenly discover you have the heavy term of back catalog, which I do. So you've suddenly got this material to sift through, and people are always asking, "Oh, you don't do one off this or off that." And since normally in a band situation, I'll, if I'm with Tyketto or my own band, I won't touch on some of the projects like From the Inside. And for instance, I'm doing for the first time doing a song off the Once and Future King, which was the album I did with Gary Hughes.
Yeah.
I just thought, let's have a little fun, pull from a few of those.
So you never played that live before?
No, never have.
Cool.
So yeah, just on this run, and so just trying to touch on a few different bases, sort of all through the solo career, and of course, some of the Tyketto things, and you get to as many as you can, but you always, you're never going to get to everyone's favorite, but at the moment, we've had some. The only thing is tonight's show will be pretty tight for time. Like last night was in Yardbirds, and they were just like, do what you want. Yeah. So it just kind of went mental.
You're all pretty late as well, so everybody will be pretty drunk.
Yeah. So last night was pretty wild, and was joined on stage by Finn from Wasted.
Oh, cool.
And we sang Heaven Tonight together. So
brilliant.
That
Fantastic.
it was a lot of fun. It's apparently all over YouTube already.
Yeah. So you've got a new Tyketto album coming out very, very shortly, isn't it? It's this month, isn't it? Yeah. And it's your first one for Frontiers, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, for Tyketto, yeah.
Yeah. So did you approach them, or did they come to you?
Didn't really have to. It's kind of a nice situation to be in, where you're fully aware over the years, because I've worked with Frontiers quite a bit. They've always just had the carpet out, as if Tyketto ever wants to make an album, please come to us first, so took the pressure off, and therefore nobody just did it because of any financial pressures or anything else. It just kind of fell into place when we started writing and recording. Said, okay, now's the time.
It's your first album for 18 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. So whose idea was it to finally follow up Strength in Numbers?
I don't really know, to be honest. We all stay in touch. We're all friends, no problems, nothing like that. But everybody's kind of scattered around to the 4 winds. So it was always just a matter of logistics. Like, how do you do it? And of course, the internet makes much more possible. But it's over 2 years ago that Michael, Brooke, and I got together in Las Vegas, which is where Brooke was living at the time. And we just said, you know what? Let's try. Let's see if we even remember how to work together. And Brooke brought in some ideas, I brought in some ideas, and we literally sat in a hotel room with Michael turning over the waste bin and just banging on the back of it, and Brooke and I with 2 guitars. And in a series of, I'd say 4 or 5 days, we had skeletals of 6 or 7 songs that we thought, hey, wait, there's something to this, not just junk, because we're our own worst critics.
And it's great to see that you haven't changed the formula. It's like a complete carry-on from the first 2 albums for you. It's like,
I think so.
It's fantastic. It's like, I've not heard them before, but I've heard them before. It's like classic Tyketto stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, because it is. What we did is, once we had those like 6 or 7 in place, then we started talking to people. Would you be interested? And so what we did was we got the possibility of playing Download 2010, and thought, all right, here's what we'll do. We picked 1 song of the 6 or 7 ideas. And we said, let's finish that one. And so we finished Love to Love and made up a really strong sounding demo of it, which coincided with the fact that we had gotten the rights back to Strength in Numbers. We own that album now. So we re-released it with Love to Love on it. And very serendipitous that rock radio that was covering all of Download that year played it, earlier on before we hit the stage. And we were able to gauge the reaction, from people calling in. And it was either people who did know it was Taiketo and say, wow, that sounds like Taiketo, but it sounds like Taiketo now.
Yeah.
Or people who just didn't know what it was and said, that was great, what was that? And we were okay, we're on to something.
So you've got one of the most unmistakable voices in rock as soon as you hear you start singing.
Oh, okay.
It's like we know it's you, no matter what it is.
I have to take your word for that. Well, that's, and that's a funny thing, too, because this album has garnished a wide variety of reactions. And I'm always kind of left scratching my head when someone tells me, well, this isn't what Taiketo is supposed to sound like. How can that be? It's Brooke, it's Michael, it's me, it's Jimmy. We decide what Taiketo sounds like.
Yeah.
And I think, the one thing is that nobody went, all right, we're going to put out a new album, but we're not going to sound anything like Don't Come Easy. That's for the old stuff. And we didn't also say, we're going to put out a new album and we're going to sound exactly like that. We're going to make we just wrote. And we picked the stuff we liked. And I know which songs I think are a strong tip of the hat to the old Taiketo. Yeah. And some of them are not. I mean, I was stunned that the record company picked Faithless as the single. That would have been 8th on my list. I'm like, are you sure? And they go, that's the one we're going to lead with. Okay. So far, it seems to have been a good choice.
Well, to me, it's like being reunited with your closest friend that you haven't seen for 20 years. It's absolutely fantastic to have you guys doing another record again. You've got to be really pleased with the way that it's turned out. Because I've been listening to it continuously now.
Well, you probably heard it a lot more than I have.
Yeah, I probably have, yeah.
Because, with me, anything I do, doesn't matter this record, any record I've done, I usually go on about a 6-month hiatus after the work's over where I just don't listen to it because it's very hard to just hear the songs. You hear that part that you had to do here, and remember that when he had to fly that in and send it from Las Vegas, and it took a week. Oh, remember when the power went out? You're not listening to the songs anymore.
Yeah.
You're listening to what went into it. And I have to say that it was, of every album I've ever done, this was the most difficult. Everything went wrong. It was just, everything was a nightmare. It was a ball breaker to do this album. And not because we were off our games or anything like that. For instance, it was just a series. I was going to put on it produced by Murphy. Because it just, we had the power knocked out for 5 days. Normally when I do vocals on an album, I'm pretty well prepared, and I just go in there and blast it for about 4 or 5 days, and I'm done, normally, and then a little color at the end or something like that. But I came down with a throat infection that made the whole singing process last 3 weeks overall. I'd get into a bit, and it would start to go. I said, okay, let's leave it, come back. So everything was hard work. Brooks just finished having major shoulder surgery, so we did the entire album basically with a Les Paul, around his back, going, ow, fuck, ow, ow, So it was, just stuff like that. Just went on and on and on. So what I'm hoping is none of that is audible, and that just the songs are still.
So how long did it take you to put the whole album together from start to finish?
Recording was quick. Right, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
right. Is there anything that's like left over from old Taiketo stuff that you didn't get out there, or is it all brand new?
It's all new. We consciously wanted to do that because there are a couple of half-baked old Taiketo ideas that are in the vault somewhere that still might appear, but no, we didn't want to do that. There are some songs, for instance, we'd never done this before, where Brooke had finished material, and he brought it to us and said, well, I've got this, this, and this. And we kind of sifted through that. Love to Love was about halfway what it is now. And, it shows, I think, how we've come along, because there was, back in the day, it was always kind of like, all right, Brooke plays guitars, don't anybody come over here. Danny does all the melodies and the vocals, and you just don't have any words to say. This time, Brooke came to me and said, well, I've written some songs, and have a look. You can change the lyrics. They're probably no good. And I looked at it and I went, no, I like this. I like it. I can sing it. I can identify with it. So that was kind of nice. There was there was a lot of crossing over of lines. And then you got to sound like Sound Off, which I wrote the guitar riff for. And I was like, yeah, do what you want to it. And he goes, no, it works. We'll just play it like that. So that was really quite pleasant, and I think we had the benefit of the strangeness of doing it kind of online. Because when I say it took 2 years, there's months and months of that where nobody was working on anything, or maybe tinkering away at home. But we weren't actually collectively. In fact, it got to a point where we had to sort of kick it in the ass because it was like time's running. We're nowhere near the 12. Well, we wanted 15 songs to be ready, so we're nowhere near that as far as finished. Again, more stuff that just went wrong. People having family crises and all the sort of things that happen. You can't get around it.
And you've got a chance to showcase your new material at this year's Firefest. You're headlining the Friday night, aren't you?
Sold out.
Yeah, sold out.
How about that?
Wow, how about that? Fantastic.
Yeah, fastest sellout they've ever had.
So how many tracks do you think you'll be throwing into the set for that one?
Well, I don't want to promise. I think 5 is a good number. It's because we've never, when I've sung for the band, we've never pulled from the Shine album. I have no problem with that, actually. The guys all said they just felt kind of like, let's leave it. I think once we did Jamie. So primarily we've been pulling from 2 albums whenever we play. So now there's a third. So I'm hoping we can balance it kind of equally in thirds somehow. We'll see how it goes. It's going to take a lot of thinking because again we made life difficult on ourselves. This album, the tunings are a half step down, which is really odd because I'm singing higher. It shouldn't work that way, but that's what happened. And as always, that's another thing that we promised ourselves. So we're not going to think about, when we're making this album, we're not going to think about, how do we do that live? Better be careful. We're just going to do what we want to do sonically. And of course, that's come back to bite me in the ass because now I've got to figure out how to sing some of this stuff live.
So how about your solo stuff? You're going to be doing any more Vaughn albums?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Part of the
finding time,
thing,
I suppose, isn't it, at the moment? It's it's hectic for you.
Part of what I love doing this acoustic thing, and I probably will do it just a bit more next time, is I'm just constantly amazed, when several hundred people show up to hear one guy on a guitar, and they know most of this stuff, and what they don't know, they indulge me and let me have some fun with. We kind of make a bit of a show out of it. What it's led to, of course, is that I have a collection of songs nobody's heard that are way off the beaten track. I've always got 1 or 2 of my albums that are a little, what was that? Dulcimer Street really was an oddball. So it's stuff like that. And I would love to do an album. I call it my orphan album, but I don't think there's going to be any record companies lining up to put it out. So it'll have to be something.
Just for the voice alone.
Well, it ranges from like cool, like horn-driven blues to Bob Dylan kind of stuff, storytelling stuff with 8-9 verses. It might be good to get that out of your system, yeah. Yeah, I'd really like to do it. I mean, if I've got the title ready, it's called Myths, Legends, and Lies. And like I said, it's just over the years, I write a bunch of stuff, and there'd be one who's like, well, I like it, but put it away. And now I've got about 16 of those. So it would be fun, to do something like that. But another proper Vaughn album, sure, I'd like to do it again. It's just collecting the songs. I mean, I don't know. We're on a bit of a high about this right now, and Brooks still remained in touch and saying, hey, listen, I've just written a couple more riffs. Maybe we could just keep writing. I know he'd like to do a solo album, so I mean... So there's plans for another Twycett album? Not plans, but the doors are open. Okay, yeah. I mean, if this one absolutely bombs, then no.
Well, believe me, there's a buzz around it.
I hope so, yeah. Like I said, I'm always more happy about it when I know there are people out there that don't like it. Isn't that weird? Yeah. If all I hear is people coming up to me saying, I love this, I get nervous. But I already know some people are like, well, this isn't Don't Come Easy. I don't like it. Okay, that makes me happy in a way because I like the fact that, because we can't all have the same opinion, can we? I wouldn't trust it if it was just like universally. And to be honest with you, there's some people that have been, in our camp from the beginning of time, big fans of the band that are kind of going, I don't get it.
I think the diehard fans are going to love it.
I hope so. There's no question in my mind that it's a grower, and I think in that sense it's more like Strength in Numbers than Don't Come Easy because it's a bit of a juggling act with the variety of moods that are on the album. Don't Come Easy was a streamlined album. It was made in a certain way at a certain time, and it was designed to have a certain sound. And we absolutely accomplished what we set out to do. There's not a thing I'd change on that album.
And it's still a classic album now.
Well, once that's why I tell everyone, I mean, once you finish it, it's not our album anymore. It's a classic because they say it is. Yeah. It's been taken into people's hearts, which is
still gets played at every disco you go to. There's always some sort of Twycett track playing. So
that's wonderful.
So what's happening with you and the Ultimate Eagles?
Big tour, and first show kicks off here at the Floral Pavilion.
And I know you enjoy doing that a lot as well, don't you? I know you're a big Eagles fan.
I really do. I mean, it's a juggling act. People do ask, why are you doing that? And the answer is quite simply that as a musician, you, especially, you know, as a musician who's no longer 20, you are faced with the fact of, I want to continue making music, singing, playing guitar as my living. You know, this is what makes me happy. This is the dream I had all these years ago. I want to continue down that path. Sometimes doing your own music isn't enough, as far as the basics, getting your phone bill paid. You know,
it's a great job, isn't it?
It is a great job. And so I got involved with another Eagles tribute band, and I liked what I saw the possibilities were there. I was not entirely happy with the way that band was owned and operated. So we basically, I basically talked to the best members of that band and said, wouldn't you like to try this just on our own backs, you know? So that's what we've done. It's all, you know, it's a band that's owned and operated by everybody in the band, which is probably a huge mistake, but there you go. And we like doing it, and you can't, with the Eagles music, you can never relax. It's too complicated. It doesn't sound complicated, but it is. So there's all these, I've never had to play so many different guitars. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And everybody in the band sings. So you've got all these different parts. Sometimes I'm lead, sometimes I'm backing, sometimes I'm high, sometimes I'm low, and your mind is always going, don't forget that. Whoops, you know. And just, it's the whole show is like that. You know, you settle in after about 5-10 shows where you start to get relaxed. But it's, as I say, it's much more complicated music than it sounds. So what the joy of it is that it's an ensemble thing. You know, there are moments. Peaceful, Easy Feeling, second verse, everybody joins in. I found out a long time ago. When we hit that right, you watch the band, all of us will go like, you know, like little kids, we giggle at each other on stage because like, when it's right, it's like, oof, you know, it's just that fantastic. I love the sound of human voices, you know, whether it's choir music, whether it's, you know, it's African chant, it doesn't matter. Human voices do incredible things. You know. So
just going back to Toyota just for one more moment, this UK show that you're playing at Five, is it an exclusive?
It is, for this year.
But can we expect a Toyota tour next year?
I hope so. You know, the thing about Taiketo is that it's a part-time band at best, and that's simply because people have jobs, lives, children. You know, it's not the old pull up stakes and disappear for 4 months like it used to be. We have very, very limited time. You know, I mean, ask anybody, how long can you leave your job before they don't let you come back? You know, True. So if Brooke's going to come on the road and there is no way, you know, why would you do an entire new album with Brooke and then have him stay at home? You know, so we might be able to eke out, I'd say, 7 or 8 shows this year in Europe. So then we'll see what happens for next year. Cool. Some very interesting offers have been coming in, though. Nothing concrete at all, but we got an offer from India the other day. I was well surprised.
You never played there before?
I have been there before, but no, it's not even. I've been told lately that they really have come around to, you know, the melodic rock thing is huge there. I talked to some of the guys in Skid Row when they went over a year or two ago, I think. I said they think they were expecting 2,000 people, and they got something like 12,000. Wow. You know, and just, you know, it's not like they're short of people. So, you know, I don't know if it'll happen, but what an amazing thing to happen on the heads of, hoping that anybody even remembers who we are, and you know, you're getting these things coming from all around the world now.
Well, it's been fantastic talking to you, as usual. Good luck with tonight's acoustic show, and we're really looking forward to see you in Nottingham in October.
Thank you.